Welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Vinitaly International Academy, announcing the 24th of our Italian Wine Ambassador courses to be held in London, Austria, and Hong Kong from the 27th to the 29th of July. Are you up for the challenge of this demanding course? Do you want to be the next Italian Wine Ambassador? Learn more and apply now at vinitalyinternational.com.
Welcome to this special Italian Wine Podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Hi there, everyone. Let me just talk a little bit about Clubhouse. It is 6 p.m. at the moment in Verona, Italy. We actually do these every week, and they get replayed on the Italian Wine Podcast. So this will be on the podcast in the next couple weeks. And tonight we have Anna Obuhovskaya, who is interviewing Pierangelo Tommasi. Now, I will introduce Anna in just a moment, but I just wanted to say that, Clubhouse has been super successful, and we are basically replaying it on the podcast so that people all over the world can listen to it in their own time zones. So, Anna, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Right, exactly right.
Oh, God. Okay. I was sure I didn't, but okay. That's great. So, you are based in St. Petersburg, and you have 13 years of experience in wine marketing and sales, and you've had many different roles. Best cavist of 2011. I could just go through a very long list, but I want to ask you why you chose your producer today, Pierangelo.
Well, it was actually easy to pick Tommasi because they produce one of the most impressive wines I have ever tried, Amarone de Buris, a flagship wine of the estate from a single vineyard. And that's pretty amazing. It's Amarone of great finesse and elegance, where power isn't straightforward, but hidden between countless layers of aromas and taste nuances, And besides that, I also have respect for the business approach and the new project that Tommasi develops. They make wines at the most prospective appellations of Italy, Maremma and Montalcino in Tuscany, Vulture in Basilicata, Oltreppa Pavese in Lombardy, and Mandure in Puglia. So that's why.
Okay, well, you're a fan. I can see that. What are the learning objectives? That's normally what Stevie asks these questions much better than I do. But what learning objectives can we get from your interview today, do you think?
Well, Joy, today I'd really like us to learn more about not really about the area or grape variety, but about the approach and business vision of a winemaking company. The point that interests me the most with Tommasi is what are the key factors for family company to be successful today? There are many family companies on the market, and not that all of them are as successful as Tommasi. So I hope we talk about it with Pierangelo today, and he shares some secrets with us.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds very interesting, because that's true. There are so many family wineries, and each one is so unique. So I'm looking forward to your conversation with him. Is Pierangelo in the room now?
Yes, I am. I've been listening every single word. Hi, everyone.
It's lovely to meet you, Pierangelo. I am going to let you and Anna have your interview now. I'm going to mute myself.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you very much for introducing this. And well, from my end, I would like to say thank you all for attending this podcast. I'm very glad to share with you as many information as possible about not only myself, but more importantly, Tommasi Family Estates. You see, Anna, I cannot promise to share really secrets, but at least some insights of Tommasi, that's for sure.
Wonderful.
Okay, we will talk. We will talk really. Um, Joy, let me also say how I discovered wines of Tommasi, how when it happened and in which sequences.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, you guys. And at the end, I will intervene. And if there's time for questions, or if there is time, then we'll have some questions if there are any. Otherwise, yeah, I'll see you guys at the end.
All right, thank you. Well, I've met, we had Tommasi wines at the portfolio of the importer that I used to work with at the time, Luding. And I was selling the Tommasi wines for my customers. But later in Verona last summer, during the Ambassadors program, there was a seminar on historical families of Amarone, which Pierangelo Tommasi attended, and we finally met in person. And it was really a unique chance to taste different Amarone wines from legendary producers like Allegrini, Masi, Speri, Tadeschi, Zenato, Brigaldara, 13 in total. And comparing these wines, I noticed how elegant and sophisticated Tommasi Amarone was, and I appreciated it even more. So I shared my impression with Pierangelo, and he was very kind to invite me to visit the winery. And I did. I did it a few months later in November. I had a chance finally to drive to the De Buris vineyard of my favorite Amarone, and to walk on its calcareous soil and better understand where the style of this flagship Amarone comes from. So this vineyard is on the top of the hill with fantastic view. I could even see Lake Garda from there. So I also visited estate and gorgeous cellar. And I should mention that Armani, the fashion brand, organized a runway show in the cellar some years ago. So I'm not the only one who thinks that Tommasi cellar is beautiful, you know. And I visited a very modern wine shop and museum of the wine and perceived how much work is behind Tommasi brand and each glass of wine they produce. So seeing back black and white photos of the estate that were made decades ago and comparing it with today, I felt really strong impression, and the fact that it's a family-run company impresses me even more. You know, you compare it with decades ago and you compare it now, and you can see really huge progress that this company made within years. So I'm really happy to be talking to Pierangelo today, and I have a few questions to ask. Okay.
I am ready, Anna, anytime.
Pierangelo, let me introduce you. Your career as a CEO of the. You were born in 1975 in one of the greatest Italian wine families, Tommasi Family Estate, founded in 1902, and you were one of the 9 members of a current 4th generation who run the family business. Is that right?
Yeah, this is correct.
Okay, and as soon as you finished your studies, you went to work full time in the company and started training as a warehouse worker, then wine shop responsible for winery tours and tasting, then export director, and working your way in the company until current position, the executive director. So that's quite an impressive career, I must say. Then you inherited your passion for wine from your father and uncles, with whom you went through the vineyards, driving tractors and using harvest the grapes. So you inherited the rigor and loyalty as well. Such qualities have allowed you to make the reins of foreign markets and to be often one of the over 70 countries where Tommasi family estate wines are distributed. So you are married, have 2 kids and a dog, and indulges in your passion, soccer, both as a player and as a fan. Well, is everything
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, I mean, everything is correct. I would say that I used to be a player of soccer, but now being 46-year-old, I have to be very careful. So I still consider myself a good player, but although I'm not that young anymore to really be active as I used to be, but this is actually correct. Thank you.
Yeah, my first question was actually about your personal story.
Yeah.
How your career started. Really, I just said a few words
Yeah.
about it, but could you say it from your point of view? I
Yeah.
mean, which do you think what was the starting point in your career when you realized you really want to be in this business?
Well, you see, I mean, I kind of introduced quickly the company itself before getting to talk a little more about myself. In a sense that to answer your last question, I mean that came easily being part of a family, which DNA has always been in wine production since 1902, actually 120 years ago, when my great grandfather, who was a farmer working a vineyard here in the Valpolicella Classico region, but this vineyard was actually owned by another very noble, rich family. He had the chance to buy this vineyard from his boss because his desire, his long-term project and vision was to do something on his own, and he started the Tommasi business though. So growing in a family that has always been part of the wine industry, the passion and a desire to be involved is almost natural, I would say. So, going back to myself and to your question, although my studies, in particular in high school, were not specifically linked to viticulture nor enology, but I actually studied and graduated in a school that was actually focused on foreign languages and tourism, and that helped me once I decided to finally start working in the company, in the family company, to be able to look after the export markets, which, as you mentioned, was not my very beginning in the, say, business career, because I started as a warehouse worker, got a passion about logistics as well, which several years later I can say it's been extremely important for my business life, because once you learn about logistics and how to actually handle things in warehouse, your mind is mentally prepared to in a way organize things, handle with people, and also in a way try to have a sort of a long-term vision. And after this year and a half of really training and working in warehouse, I could finally start introduce myself to be a little more into the export business of our company, which back then was already pretty well in a way organized, but I had the chance in so many years to definitely take it to the next level. So then when you are in a family business like we are, at some point you kind of have to have somebody to take the further step up to the role of CEO, and that is actually me, and I'm very proud of that.
Well, did your parents insist on you being a part of a family business?
Not at all, not at all. You see, this is actually quite fascinating, I would say, about our family. But I can tell you more in general. I think it is very much part of the Veneto, in a way, DNA and attitude. There are several industries here in the Verona and more in general Veneto region. Wine, agriculture and more in general. We actually have the very famous marble production here in Verona province. tourism, for instance, linked to the amazing historic city center Verona, but also Lake Garda, and several others actually. And I can tell you there are so many family companies in all these industries because it is quite normal as part of a local culture and DNA. So it's been the same in our family, though. I mean, opening the windows, the bedroom windows every morning and seeing vineyards, you get involved with wine, even though you don't want it. I mean, you really feel it's part of your life, and that actually happened to me, and luckily it happened also to all my sisters and cousins. That we're all involved in the family business. So this is the best way to prove that even though parents did not necessarily insist, but we felt as natural to be involved in such a lovely business. Because what else would you like to do than be involved in running your own wine company?
Well, that's a really good way you put it. It's really, yeah, I know there are a lot of family companies in Verona, especially, and it's a very long tradition. So it's really a good way it's a good point you bring up with this attitude. Uh, if you talk about Tommasi wines in general, how would you describe the signature style of Tommasi wines? What is it, to your point?
Well, you see, what I mentioned actually, something about Tommasi wines, as you briefly introduced earlier, mentioning the different regions in Italy where we're actually involved right now. But starting from our homeland, Valpolicella Classico and Amarone wines, for instance, etc., we have always believed in respecting the real nature and DNA of the soil and the local grapes. And the same, say, philosophy has been then in a way developed and maintained in every other regions where we decided to invest in the most recent years. So based on that mission to respect the local characteristics, our wines have to be in a way, of course, complex in their way. Some of them are more by nature, others are more kind of fresh and easy to drink, if you will. But they all have to be elegant, enjoyable, with great finesse, and in a way they have to be no-brainer. I mean, no one around the world has to have any hard time to drink a Tommasi wine, and no hard time to match with food. So rather than really trying to make our wines different or just appealing to the trends or to what potentially the worldwide consumers like, we prefer to maintain the real original DNA and characteristic of each region and do our best to produce quality wines that people are really have a good time and enjoy to drink.
Yes, I'm one of those people.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I I actually remember the conversation we had though, so I know that I'm kind of knocking an open door with you about that.
Right. So, what do you think, coming back to this topic of family business, what do you think is the most important thing when doing business with family members? You know, you're all cousins and brothers and sisters and uncles and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fathers.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, yeah.
how do you stay, um, how you say, in a good working team? I'm sure you're a
Yeah.
great family. I could see that, but how you stay a great? What is the key to stay a good team, good working team?
Nine of us, large, generation, 9 members, between brothers and cousins. We actually run two different activities in the family group because besides producing wines, we also own hotels and restaurants. And therefore, to finally answer your question, the most important thing is to get along. When you respect each other, you respect each other's strengths and weakness, you support each other, You also understand that working as a group, you can really achieve great results, whereas becoming individual players, you can easily and quickly be a loser. That is actually very much part of our family, again, DNA, and in a way, it's been our mission since a long, long time. And then you recognize in everyone the ability to be more involved in something. For instance, either making wines or selling wines or looking after administration and so on and so forth. So when everyone has the chance to really give its best according to the attitude, then you can tell that the team is actually a winner. And that has been so far for Tommasi family estate since we all part of the fourth generation started in 1997, so 25 years ago. But more importantly, you really have to respect each other every single day. Obviously, you argue sometimes. I'm not here saying that everything is actually perfect. You argue, you discuss, you don't agree or not necessarily agree all the time. But in the end of the day, when you really understand that the team is what really wins, then you are a winner. And I'm very proud that all of us have been very, very close up to now. That said, we have to thank our fathers and mothers that really grew us up, understanding the importance of being and staying close as a family. And this is now the same thing that all the 9 members are doing with our own children. I actually have 2, as you mentioned, but if I also include all the other, nephews and nieces that I have come from my cousins and sisters, the 5th generation is made by 16 children and different ages, of course. So our mission today is to grow them up, teaching them how important it is to stay close as a family, respect each other, love each other, besides whether or not they will be working together, because that's still a bit far away from now. But at least they have to love each other, respect each other, and be still close as cousins. And I'm very positive. Looking at the way they behave and they stay together, I'm very positive that the 5th generation will continue with the same trend as we have been able to do in this past so many years.
Well, the way you describe this remind me of a soccer game, where all the players are important, and if everyone is good, then the team wins. So
You,
it's so much in common with a sport.
Yeah, you see, the fact that I'm actually a fan of soccer in particular make me think many times in my mind, at least comparing, as you just said. I mean, comparing a team that is actually family, but also people that work together, with a team of teammates actually that have to share the same vision. Otherwise, you will never be a winner, but you will most likely be a loser.
Right. That's you're very right. And could you please tell about the roles of your family members, like who does what?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of quickly, briefly mentioned earlier, in a sense that luckily, being so many, we had a chance to be involved in a certain sector according to our attitudes. And for instance, I'm happy to mention my cousin Giancarlo, who way a long time ago in high school and then even more in the university decided to become the enologist. So we are happy and proud to have the real wine man, as I call him, the enologist, part of the family. And then the other relatives are actually involved in sales for looking after the Italian market, administration, human resources. So we really control all the main sectors of a company. And then 2 cousins of mine, actually, 2 members of the 4th generation, have been running since a long time the hospitality business, which is the other branch of the family group.
Okay, I see. And speaking of well, that's very interesting. I've met Giancarlo also at the estate, and he's really positive, and you can really see his lively character that
Yeah.
that he expresses in the wine. somehow. I don't know, but I just take a glass and I really feel this positive attitude.
Well, well, it is really very nice what you say. Very nice to hear. I mean, yeah, when you enjoy a glass of Tommasi wines and you kind of visualize and feel this very much Giancarlo's style. I mean, when you get to know him personally, like it happened with you, then you can really see a lot about himself and his personality and his way of being in our wine. So enjoyable, pleasant, and as I said earlier, no-brainer. And that really very much respects my cousin's character. So I really like what you say. Thank you.
You're welcome. And speaking of your human resource, I was really impressed when I met some of your members of the team, especially export managers. I noticed how much qualified they are. Even, to my impression, even overqualified to the positions they have. They're really educated. They speak languages. They travel. They know market very well. They know much more than than market in Italy they're working in. So it's such a huge background they have, and it's really. I was very happy that to see what brilliant people you have in the team. And could you tell me how what's your approach of choosing professionals that work for you? What do you seek? Which criteria in their resumes or in their personality is the key for you?
Italian Wine Podcast, brought to you by Mama Jumbo Shrimp.
Well, I mean, you see, when you look when you have an open position in a certain sector of the company, you of course have to start looking for somebody who has most likely the experience. That can be more or less depending on the timing. But I mean, when I interview candidates, the first and the most important thing I want to feel is if this person is empathic. I mean, I want to have my kind of my heart and soul telling me whether this is the right person or it is not. Meanwhile, of course, I try to get the feeling whether this is really skilled at the level that I'm looking for. But more importantly, I mean, the question that I have to myself is, do I like him or not? And when I think of that question, I also think, would this person get along with the rest of the family and the rest of the team? Those are the two main questions that I do to myself when I listen people introducing themselves, at least in the first interview, and then everything else comes almost by itself. So I'm really happy and proud of the way you described some of my team members that you actually met. I'm very proud of them. Sometimes you are lucky that you really find the right person. Sometimes you are really not, and you just realize it, over the time. But again, besides how skilled they are in their business, in their role, actually, I really try to find people that can really be well received by the rest of the team at first step, and be ideally good partner in the same team. So you see very much the way we have been able in the family to create a certain atmosphere. I wish to be able to create the same atmosphere with team members, and then in the end, it's also up to them to get along, because you cannot really control their minds or their behavior. But at least start with a good sense. I believe this is the right person, and then time would tell.
Well, it's a great way you put it. You said at the beginning that you're not gonna tell any secrets, really, but I think you already spill the main secret. It's very rare when I hear from the CEO of the company that they look for some atmosphere. It's so rare in business. selling business, in importers business, in a business where big money involved. That's quite rare, I should say. Well, it's nice that you have this approach.
Thank you.
Let's switch to the projects
Yeah.
you have in other outside of Veneto, because it's very, very interesting. Please tell about them, like where you chosen, which wines outside of Veneto you make, and why you've chosen those appellations, those
Yeah.
regions.
So, I mean, I have to say that this whole project or journey, as I like calling it, journey started in family holding, today called Tommasi Family Estates. Once we all agreed on that, the company was actually able financially to invest. And our desire from the very beginning was to buy more vineyards. We have always been vintners. I mean, we have always produced wines with our own grapes. And the amount of hectares that we owned back then were not enough for a long-term project. So we decided to invest more in land, and in one way, we did it immediately from the very beginning in the Valpolicella area. But at the same time, we realized that we could be a long-term successful wine company if we would actually also possibly expand with wine projects outside of our home area, Veneto. And when we finally agreed to do that, we thought that Tuscany should actually be the region to be for many reasons. I mean, in a way, the importance and authority of Tuscan wine regions all over the world, based on all their most historic appellations, such as Brunello, Chianti Classico, Super Tuscans, and then later on Bulgari and all the others. So that was actually the region where we first wanted to possibly invest. And I actually mentioned Montalcino not as a coincidence, but because that was our dream in 97. But we were not able to really, in a way, afford an important project, an expensive project back then. And at the same time, I think we were not brave enough. We were still young, and we needed to do an experience somewhere else, probably to do our mistakes in a less risky wine region before really possibly, hopefully, getting into Montalcino area. And that's why, without giving up with the idea that Tuscany should be the region to be at, we decided to start a nice project in Maremma, Toscana, in southern Tuscany. As I said, in a way less risky, so to speak, not as expensive as Montalcino was back then. And that was actually a great solution, a great decision, I can tell you, several years later, because we learned how to work with different grapes than the local ones from Verona. We learned how to manage a company a few hours away from home. We learned how to handle with local employees, again, a bit far away from home. I mean, we learned so many things which were really critical for the following projects that we made several years later. And as I explained why Tuscany, some years later, we decided to expand in southern Italy, in Apulia region in particular, because we were then ready again to take another step. And then the strategy back then became very clear with the ambition to invest more. We wanted to invest in those regions which could make the Tommasi Family Estates portfolio more complete and quite strong to be able to offer to all our national and international partners, I mean customers basically, the chance to buy from us wines from three basically regions from Italy: North, Central, and South. I mean, and the rest has been a continuous journey I mean, quite exciting, driven by a clear strategy behind, supported luckily by a very, in a way, say, healthy financial situation of our company, and the fact, and I go back to the very beginning, that we are a very solid family with many members that are really giving 110% of themselves every single day. We ourselves spend a lot of time working, and that is actually quite important, very strong roots to be able to expand as much as we have done so far. And I would like to go back quickly to Montalcino because, I mean, as I mentioned, it was almost a dream back in 1997. And then we were finally able to make the dream become true in 2015 when we finally purchased the Casisano estate. So you see, it took 18 years before we got it. And in my mind, I think it is like when you give birth to a child, and then once he gets 18, he's now an adult and is free to go. So apparently we started in 97, this Tommasi family estate journey. We were kind of just born in that sense, and 18 years later, we were able to make the dream become true. And then the rest is history. And I mean, I'm happy to announce that after having added the Basilicata area also to the group, Lombardy for sparkling wines, we actually Umbria, which is a sort of a work in progress project. But recently, during Vinitaly, we signed the last contract and acquired a very exciting project in one of the most exciting Italian wine regions, which is Etna and Sicily.
Wow, that's that's a great news. You'll have Etna wines. I can't wait to see what the style will be. I'm sure I can really imagine this signature style of Tommasi and Etna wines. You know,
Yeah, I
it
can
should be really interesting.
100%, and I can tell you probably at least 1 year before we will actually release the wines from there. That is another region where we will definitely respect the characteristic of the area where we are at. I had the chance to visit the region a few times, understand the region a little more, and speak with local producers. Many of them are actually good friends of mine, and understand how different the soil can be according to the subregion where you're at in Etna, how much you are exposed to east towards the seaside, whereas if you are more north or northwest, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to make a lesson about Etna wines now, but I mean respecting the kind of the crew or which are really very much part of the area will be our mission, and so this will give definitely continuity to what we have done in every other wineries up to now.
Well, I want to ask which what is your choice based on when you look for a direction for a new project? Is it are those numbers or some studies, some recent studies, or maybe other successful producers that you look after? What really makes you choose a new project in certain region?
I mean, you are actually always inspired by somebody, of course. Sometimes can be just a good connection of people you know, colleagues you know, but at the same time, it can also be when you feel and you understand that that region is going to grow, is going to really develop because you understand the potentials. You know, I can make different examples because they're not all alike. I kind of mentioned earlier why Maremma in Tuscany, the importance of the region, and the fact that when we were younger, Montalcino was not affordable. But then Montalcino came later, and you can tell, I mean, the importance of Brunello as much as Amarone is. So we are proud to be producers of two of the most, I would say, prestigious and unique wines from Italy. But then I also mentioned why Puglia. We wanted to complete the portfolio with strategic wines, good value, good quality, good value wines from southern Italy, so that our customers would be able to buy wines from us, from north, from central, and from south. Then Lombardy project in Oltrepò Pavese was driven by the desire to be able to produce classical metodo sparkling wines. And that is the land of Pinot Nero grape in Italy, the land of an historic metodo classico, which unfortunately as a wine region is not as known as it should be due to the importance of the area, the history of the area Oltrepo Pavese for sparkling wines actually. Then Basilicata, because we had the great chance to do something together with a family, Paternoster, who we had known for a very long time. That was a few years ago in a position to have the previous generation step out and the new generation, which is basically represented by Fabio, Paternoster, the enologist, to really take over. And he was willing to possibly be in partnership with a family that has a long-term project. And luckily that the Tommasi family, actually us, was the family he was happy to do business with. And no, we're talking about a very small wine region, Basilicata, but where Paternoster is actually the star. And with a wine so complex, which is Aglianico del Vulture, that as far as I can see up to now is quite well received in Italy, in particular Central and Southern Italy. It's kind of growing its distribution in Northern Italy, but it's still not as known as it should be in all around the world. So with this project, we have a long way to go, which is very exciting because it is going to inspire us every day. And then to finish with Etna, if I may say something about that, that was actually quite obvious, I would say, these days, that if we would ever be able to do another investment like we just did, we should look at the region which has been probably the fastest growing Italian wine region in the last, say, 10 years, with great location, great really territory, with big history, fascinating. You see, the Etna volcano, mountain behind you, and then you see the sea just in front of you. So an amazing place, and with very interesting wines that can be quite enjoyable when they're young and with the long aging potential. So Etna was actually inspired by not just the beauty of the region and the quality of the wines, but also understanding that if Etna is very good today, it will actually be great in just a few years to come.
Yes, I agree with you. I love Etna wines, and I'm really impressed with the potential these wines have. And considering those regions you mentioned, Orvieto and Basilicata and Lombardia, I think those are underestimated, like Altopa Pavese and Lombardia. Those are underestimated, definitely. Those are great. They make great wines that are not very known on the market, but I hope they will be grown big in the next years. I totally agree with you. I would if I would play your game,
Yeah.
I would do the same moves. Actually,
You see,
I
from our end, Anna, we have the ambition to contribute, to possibly contribute to take those little still unknown regions to possibly become a bit more known in the future. So that is our mission, and one of the reasons why we are happy to be involved there as much as we are in more known wine regions such as Verona, say Valpolicella, Lake Garda, Montalcino, etc.
Great. Well, we have a question from our listener. It's Lucio Brito, and he wants to ask whether Tommasi wine is being exported to Brazil.
Yes, they are actually. We have three, say, regional distributors in Brazil. All three, in a way, at the moment, include primarily the core wines from the Veneto portfolio. So Amarone, of course, Valpolicella, Ripasso in particular. I'm sure your name is Lucio, right? You can certainly easily reach out to me by email and I can give you more information where you can possibly find our wines there in the market.
Thank you so much. And I would like to ask you about the Lugana. It's a project, is my favorite white wine you make. I've tasted absolutely all white wines you produce. Everyone has its character. Everyone is great, but Lugana is very special. It's so deep. It has great structure. It's very promising, and I feel how it develops with an age. It's truly a great wine, and I know it's quite a new project for you, Le Fornacia Lugana. Could you say, please, a few words about it, how you came up with it, and what's your ideas about this project, about these wines?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy to talk about Lugana because that is actually a wine that I also love from the white wine side, and the way you described, I would have used actually exactly the same words from the technical and stylistic standpoint. Lugana is not really such a recent project from us, in a sense that we have owned a fairly small vineyard in the Lugana area at least since 30 years. But it's only been since 2014 when we decided to really make it way more important than what it used to be. And therefore, we, in just a couple of years, we bought several more vineyards to the point that we actually own 45 hectares under vine today, which is quite large estate in the Lugana area. And in a way, I mean, many reasons why. One in particular, which in a way I haven't mentioned so far, but this is also good for other wine projects in other regions where we are involved outside of Veneto. The fact that since part of our family DNA and activity has been in the hospitality business with hotels and restaurants, the project we choose are not only necessarily linked to the production of that wine period, but that actually, I mean, making wine or making that wine is only something about a larger project and a much longer term project, which definitely includes the how do you say, the importance of talking about the region where the winery is based and where the wine is produced. In particular, where incoming annual tourism potentials are actually huge, where we can develop an hospitality project to welcome visitors to come visit us and enjoy the wines locally. So Lugana is a perfect area for that. Beautiful area, beautiful cities in the area, in the region, very busy from the touristic standpoint. So in one end, we have the chance to produce a lovely wine, which is technically enjoyable and with aging potential, as you mentioned. While on the other hand, we have the chance to do it in a region which is full of annual tourism, and that is quite part of our, family path, which will hopefully continue for a very long time.
Thank you, Pierangelo. We have just 9 minutes left until the end of the Clubhouse, so I have 2 more questions to ask you. And could you please tell me what do you hope, what do you wish Tommasi company, Tommasi Group would be like in 10 years?
Well, I mean, first of all, to still be a very solid family-based company, and I'm 110% sure this will actually happen. No question about it, because in 10 years I will still be here, and I will make sure that the company will continue to be as solid as it is today in terms of family involved. And then, of course, we have 10 years to go to work hard every day to make our brand recognition grow, develop even further, improve, and in basically as sort of a long story short, be known as Tommasi Family Estates, be known and considered as one of the most respectful representative of quality Italian wines throughout the world.
Okay, that sounds very promising. I hope to see how you grow in 10 years, really. What is your favorite Tommasi wine, by the way?
I mean, Anna, here it's quite easy to answer. I mean, Tommasi de Buri Samarone. What else?
That's right. It's so breathtaking that nothing else would even close. But maybe your ethno wine would be uh, as uh, as great.
No.
We'll see.
We'll
Maybe some of
see.
the new projects
I mean, you
will be
see, I
good.
mean, to just quickly explain the reason why I answered about Amarone. I mean, you can tell this is a wine that I've been in a way admiring since I was a child, seeing how my father and uncles were carefully selecting grapes, drying them in the drying loft areas, and so on and so forth, all the way through the long aging, etc. Then I became to an age where I started appreciating the wine, and that wine has actually represented us throughout the world, and it has helped me also in a way to succeed in my business. So on one end, I love it as a wine, but on the other end, it represents my story. So the answer is definitely easy. Then the Buris project and single vineyard came years later, and that is actually certainly the cherry on the cake. That said, I have to say that if I had to pick a region where, as a private wine consumer, usually buys to enjoy, that is definitely Tuscany. For some reasons, I'm particularly fan of. Etna, I can tell you, I am so excited. I really look forward to releasing the first Tommasi family wines from there.
And what's the biggest market for Amarone de Bures?
Well, actually, the Buris itself, in a way, respects also what is the other Tommasi and Marrone Classico in terms of recognition distribution. There are three main regions actually where we are at, say, United States and Canada for sure, and then Scandinavian market a lot, but also, I mean, the historic ones in Europe, such as Switzerland, Germany, but technically, I would say all five continents. You see, the beauty of Amarone and the good Amarone, and we are very lucky to be one of the producers of this amazing wine, is that the style, the characteristic are in a way enjoyed everywhere, all around the world. I mean, the wine match the international palate and international cuisine. And that is quite important for the success of the wine. So we are proud, but also lucky to be one of the historic producers of this amazing wine.
That's a great way you put it. It's a taste that unites all five continents. It's quite challenging to make to produce wine, which so many people would appreciate and cherish. You know, that's really a hard thing. I remember visiting the estate. I had a chance to taste berries that were drying, the berries from the Buddhist vineyard,
Yeah.
and I can still feel the taste of those grapes. They're so fresh and with good acidity, with really nice fruitness, and I could really feel it in the wine as well. This very sophisticated taste. It's pretty amazing.
You see,
I'm really Yeah, I'm happy I tasted the actual grape, that the market will see in 5 years.
yeah, yeah. You see, I mean, we just you and I kind of described the Amarone wine kind of more from the technical standpoint. But I mean, as I remember your visit and how much you enjoyed, you see, you can be really you are now you are a great ambassador of it because even more than tasting berries, as you said, and enjoying wine, etc. You visited the vineyard. So you really had a chance to experience the importance of a vineyard dedicated to such an important wine. So, I mean, our family philosophy is if you want to make a good wine, you start by far from the vineyard, and then just after you actually do your best in the cellar. But if you don't really have the proper vineyard for premium projects, everything else you try to do would most likely fail. So land is the key of a success.
All right, everybody. That was a lovely conversation. It sounds very heartfelt, actually. So I really enjoyed that. Unfortunately, because it's so close to 7, I'm going to have to close the room. But I just wanted to thank you both for that conversation. That was really lovely.
Well, I mean, thank you, Joy. Thank you so much, Anna, for your questions and conversation. I would like to say thank you also to Lika, who actually worked and helped us to get this together. And thank you all for attending. I hope to see you visiting Tommasi one day, if this will be the first time. Otherwise, again, and not just in the Veneto, but also in the other regions. Keep promoting, enjoying Italian wines, guys, because you really are the ambassadors.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Pierangelo, for this really nice talk.
Thank you both. And just in case there are any people who would like to ask questions, but because we are out of time, you can always ping Laika on Instagram at Italian Wine Podcast, or you can also just send us an email at info@italianwinepodcast.com, and I would be happy to forward those questions. So have a good night, everybody, and see you next time.
Ciao!
Ciao! Ciao, ciao!
Thanks for listening to this episode of Italian Wine Podcast, brought to you by Vinitaly Academy, home of the gold standard of Italian wine education. Do you want to be the next ambassador? Apply online at vinitalyinternational.com for courses in London, Austria, and Hong Kong, the 27th to the 29th of July. Remember to subscribe and like Italian Wine Podcast, and catch us on SoundCloud, Spotify, and wherever you get your pods. You can also find our entire back catalog of episodes at italianwinepodcast.com.
Hi guys, I'm Joy Livingston and I am the producer of the Italian Wine Podcast. Thank you for listening. We are the only wine podcast that has been doing a daily show since the pandemic began. This is a labor of love and we are committed to bringing you free content every day. Of course, this takes time and effort, not to mention the cost of equipment, production, and editing. We would be grateful for your donations, suggestions, requests, and ideas. For more information on how to get in touch, go to italianwinepodcast.com.